there, how's it going? In my last vlog we were talking about tension and relaxation and how in Systema we like to explore the full spectrum of that, from extreme tension all the way through to extreme relaxation. And I mentioned the phrase selective tension. So a couple of people asked me if I could explain that a little more, and there was also a discussion on a forum that led to an interesting sort of challenge, but more about that later on. So we understand that the whole body can be tense, of course, but selective tension means that we consciously tense or relax one or more particular parts of the body. A very simple example of this would be if you take an inhale and if you tense the whole body up a little bit, when you exhale, keep the tension in the fists. So I've still got that tension in the fist, but the rest of the body stays relaxed. This is actually quite a good one to do if you're in a stressful situation or you think something physical is going to happen. You can kind of get the fists ready. It takes a lot of the fear out, and it puts the fear or the tension where you're going to need it, in the fist. There's myriad ways of working this, of course. From a solo perspective, you start with your base level breathing exercises. Inhale tense, exhale relax, with full or selective tension. You can work things like holding a stick, keeping the grip tight on the stick, yet the body is free to move. You can work things like sledgehammer. If you're working with a partner, then there's lots of different exercises you can do, such as leaning on the fists. And there's another exercise for 3 people that I'll show you later on that's very good for developing this principle. But why should we do this work? Well, I think it's very important to understand the levels of tension in our own body. Now, when we say tension, people think of very obvious muscular tension. That's one level. That muscular tension can go a lot deeper. And of course, we're also talking about psychological tension, because the two are very closely interrelated. This might be immediate stress caused by a situation, or of course it could be something that goes back years. There could be trauma locked deep within the body. So this understanding of tension within ourselves helps us not only to use the minimum amount of tension that we need, which leads to freer and healthier movement. It can also help unlock any deep-seated traumas or blockages we have in our system as well. And this for me is one of the great things about Systema. It's an all-in-one package in that sense, in that you're working in such a way that improves your efficiency in terms of combat or self-defense or movement or functionality, but at the same time you're making yourself fitter, stronger and healthier. So of course this type of work is just one aspect of our training. We're always working around those 4 pillars and the combinations and the interplay between them. If you'd like to see more detailed instructional content, then click join below, and that will give you details of how to access our member channel. We have weekly uploads on there on a whole range of different subjects, and of course as a member you can get in touch and ask questions and we will answer them on video for you. So I'll bring the guys in now and we'll talk about that challenge I mentioned earlier, and we'll also look at some of the practical applications of selective tension as well. So this challenge I spoke about earlier was, can you hit someone, can you get a good punch out while holding a glass of water that's pretty much full without spilling any of the water? So this is a good demonstration of selective tension, because I have to hold this firmly, not let that move around. At the same time I've got to be relaxed enough in the body to hit, but there's got to be some tension in this hand as well, right? Because if I hit with a totally relaxed hand, nothing happens. I'm going to try 2 different types of hit. The first should be quite easy because I'm just going to drop. So that's really just the weight of a relaxed arm with the fist at the end. And then I'll try a short hit as well. The other thing I'm going to add into this is not using a stance, because quite often when you see martial art demonstrations, the person has to get into a particular stance in order to do the whatever they're demonstrating. In Systema there's an expression about buttering toast. Mikhail always used to say, anything you do should just be like buttering toast, and he used to demonstrate it in quite a funny way when he come down in the morning for breakfast. You don't butter your toast like that, right? So that idea of selective tension and relaxation goes all throughout the body. If I've got tension here and tension here, I don't need tension in the legs as well. Anyway, let's see what happens. So first of all, we'll do a downward hit. Okay. And then I'll do the short hit. So, you know, first time we've done that, and that seemed to go okay. We wanted to add a second thing in though. Can you pass us that? So the other thing is, can you take the hit without spilling? Now this is more of a challenge because you're getting a lot of force coming into the body, right, potentially. So you've got to manage it in some way that keeps this stable. I'll hit this side.
A little bit.
Little bit. We'll do one. So again. There we go. So the answer is yes. I don't want to present these things as tricks because quite often you see in martial arts, right, someone does a trick and we set it all up so it's all going to work the way it should. This is just something you should be able to do naturally, really. If you can't, then you need to get back to that idea of regulating your attention, which means you have to be aware of it, of course. So we get the guys to have a go to see if you should be able to do it as well. But don't get in the stance. Just walk. Even if I just walk up and hit, see? A little bit of a ripple there. Okay, let's try.
Good hit.
You're better than me, Matt.
That's alright, wasn't it?
Good. Very good.
Well, you look at me.
So this is great if you get into a situation in a coffee shop or in a bar, and you know, no one wants to spill their drink, do they?
I spilled my drink.
We're going to keep going till you don't spill it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
You know what?
Quite funny.
It's a pub game, isn't it?
Yeah, next time you're down the pub. Did you spill my pint?
Hey.
Yes.
Nice. I'll take it.
So one other very good drill for developing this is the person brings a fist out and is going to hold this in place, so he applies tension to this arm. My job is to push. Now obviously I can grab his arm and I can do all this, maybe later on, but when you start I'm going to give him just a clear push in one direction. So I'm pushing this way and I'll do that for a short while. Then I'll push down and then push out and so on. So basically every few seconds I change the direction of my push, and I'm keeping my push constant. I'm not trying to catch him out or anything else. So his job is just to keep the tension here, but the rest of the body stays relaxed. Again, we're not in a stance. You can bring the heels in the air, you can stand on one leg, you can sort of step backwards and forwards, that's fine. So once we know we can do that, then the other arm now stays completely relaxed, and Matt, you just move that arm around. So he puts absolutely, that's it, a little bit slower, yeah, absolutely no tension in its arm. Like when we do, you know, we do a lot of massage and stretching work. So this one stays tense, that one stays free. Very good, push down. So it's like you kind of have to split the body in half almost. Well, not even the body, but you've just got to control the tension in that arm and let everything else go. So it's quite an interesting thing to do. Good, that's nice. See, Andy's good at it. Yeah. So there's an exercise you can try. So when it comes to practical use of this, there's so many things, it's difficult to pick anything really. I mean, obvious things like you're carrying a tray of drinks through a crowded pub, right? You've got to hold this level and steady, but at the same time, excuse me, I mean, it's just everyday stuff, and again, this comes back to this idea of Systema just being very natural. We don't have to take a stance or a pose to carry the tray, you just walk. But it's because we're so full of tension and we've forgotten how to move. You know, when you look at babies and little kids, they're free of any of that stuff, so they just move very naturally, and that's what we've got to get back to. In terms of other application, Alex, can you think of a situation where you might want to keep a focus or an aim or something, and at the same time it's going off a basic training soon? Right? It's obvious, right? If you're keeping a line on something, you don't want to do this.
To relax, to interact with the environment more than anything.
Especially if something's coming back.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of stuff. But even on like self-defense levels, if he does something to me, like I might want to be sort of tense here. Like if I totally relax this, it's going to come in a clip. I know I can deflect and everything else, but just as an example. So here, but if I tense everything up, then you know there's no power in the punch. I can keep this tense, I can keep this tense, but the rest of the body stays relaxed. Again, no special stance or anything else. In a way, that's transferring tension. So here, I can bring that through the body to the other hand. It might be I've got to keep hold of someone, and the other guy's coming in. So, if I relax this one, then as it is, I can keep him out a little bit, and I can hopefully deal with this guy. So there's so many things if you're using a stick or a knife or against a stick or a knife. There's so many examples where selective tension is helpful. And as I said before, on top of all that, it helps keep the body healthy. You know, getting rid of excess tension can only be a good thing. So there we go. Hopefully that's answered some questions on what selective tension is and why we practice it, what it can be used for. This is one of those things, and I know I've said this before, but it happened again in the last couple of weeks, where people say to me, that's all weird, isn't it? That stuff you do, that Systema, it's all a bit weird. And I always find it funny, but I find it even more strange, if you like, when the person telling me that is maybe 15, 20 years my junior, and they've damaged their bodies so much in their self-defense training, they literally can't get up and down off of the floor. And I'm the weird one. Anyway, that's just me. If you have any questions, as always, please do let me know. I'll do my best to answer. Remember to click the join button to find out about the membership channel, and I'll see you next time.